Hello again, welcome back. This is Carl again to bring you another message, and I want to focus on the cross. Now, the cross, of course, symbol of Christ's ultimate sacrifice for you and I, and what all went on there in the suffering, we will never know. And but we can try to understand the suffering and that Christ had to endure. Now, we know some churches, they do a beautiful exposition of stained glass, Stations of the Cross. And, those were the points in time where Jesus was carrying his own cross through the streets of Jerusalem, and he fell from the weight. He was just exhausted. I mean, we spoke before of not even getting any water to drink, and Jesus was just so exhausted, and the human body, took more away from Christ. And so here he is suffering from, extreme heat exhaustion. His body's overheating. And so that third time he went down, and he had to take a rest. I mean, all these stations of the cross, he was faltering, and his body, his physical frame, and he was struggling for you and I to walk one more step for us, without falling from carrying the weight of his cross. And we know the story how a man helped him carry his cross to the hill where he was crucified. And so, everything that was foretold about Christ's sufferings, you can only write so much about it in, even in the Bible. But this was just such extreme suffering. But if we look in Isaiah 53, it talks about the suffering servant, and how he was, his body was put through so much pain, and the cross is the extreme example of that. But all through the time of his arrest to the cross, it was just pain and suffering all around, physically and mentally. Man put that suffering on Jesus. Now, Jesus went the distance for us, you see, and even had to carry his own cross. Now, I mean, people today would think that's kind of like, rubbing salt in the wound. Here's a man condemned to die, and he's got to carry his own cross. I mean, he probably made his own cross. Who knows? I mean, he was a carpenter, so he was probably asked to, take part in constructing his own cross. I mean, this is ridiculous. But, the injustice you can see. Now, we'll get into that in another episode, but don't want to get into it here about the injustice Christ suffered and how it all fits in. And there's, it's a science, really, if you study at the cross. And I truly believe that all answers to life's problems can be found at the cross. And, because here we see the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate suffering of humankind. And if you can look at that, and because we all suffer from things in life, and if we look to Christ's cross, we will find the answer there that, we need to sustain us in life. And that so many that came before us got them through as well. We hear about people who were burned at the stake, and so, but that cross was enough to sustain them, you see. And so Christ kept going for us because there was no, as we call, option. You see, there was no alternative. And the other alternative was that he doesn't come at all, and we're not here really. So I like to say that my expression is always that Jesus, his love for us was greater than the sufferings he had to endure on the cross. He would rather have died, which is what he did, than to leave us here alone, without any hope, you see. And so here's a real father, and who would, die for his children, you see. Sacrifice his own life for his children, that they would be saved. And so that's what Jesus did for us. And he went through that extreme suffering for us. And so as you go from the Passover meal to Saturday, of course, to Friday actually, and where Christ was hanging on the cross. You see, think about what Christ did for you and I, and I hope that can give you some encouragement as you go through trials in your life to seek the cross, and you'll find answers to all life's problems there. And God richly bless you.